Due to the short space of time in between Game Week 25 and Game Week 26, I've condensed the video into one bumper kind of episode, so you will be getting a big one. So grab some snacks, grab a drink, sit back and relax. These are the rules for the player podium. Up to 3 players per team rewarded points based on individual performance, with the best player receiving 3, second best receiving 2, and third best receiving 1 point. And if a team has less than 3 outstanding players, their best performing player may receive less than 3 points. Players accumulate points each game week and are placed onto a leaderboard, and every week one player is awarded Player of the Week. Just a reminder of where we are at after game week 24. Here are all of the players that scored points and lost them in Garnacho's case, as you can see here, all the way across. And Player of the Week was Ekatike in that particular one. Haaland's still on his own on the 30. No one's really so close, but Ekatike is there. He's on 24. Semenyo won't go. He's probably going to be the player that gets the most points in the end because of how good he's performing for City. And you've got Rice and Bowen, Fernandes and Mbeumo completing out the 20s, and then the rest of the good performing players this season starting to fall in behind as such. We're starting off with Leeds against Forest then, and this was a result that I didn't necessarily not expect, but I didn't expect it to happen in this kind of manner. Leeds are really good at home. That's nothing to you can't deny that in any way. And Forest aren't they aren't the worst away, but coming to a place like Ellen Road's always difficult, and it's a massive, massive result that Leeds have got here. In terms of the game, I think Forest had a chances here or there. They have struggled for clinicality on many occasions this season, and I think this is another one of them. They're doing the stuff really well. They were playing Deutsch's ball really, really well, in the sense that they were doing the stuff like the sitting back. They were absorbing chances. They were keeping solid for quite a while, as they have done it many times this season, and they've just failed to be potent on the counter attack. And at the end of the day, they signed Lorenzo Luca to be that. And whether he is entirely or not, that's up to be desired. But this, I mean, this result is pretty surprising when Dutch teams don't tend to get battered. And I mean, Leeds were the better team by quite a long way. They were clinical. They looked potent every time they went forward. They looked like they were going to score a lot of the time, and it's really important 3 points in the context of the relegation fight. Leeds are just pushing themselves further and further away from the battle as teams like Spurs get dragged in. They're replacing Spurs in a bit more of a safe position, and you'd say that Leeds are a team with a lot of fight, a lot of bottle. So I wouldn't think at this point that I wouldn't put them to go down. I'll be honest with you. Um, Forest, obviously, with the managerial change, I'll speak about that after the game week 26 game. But Forest are struggling a little bit in terms of goal scoring. That's the only kind of negative I can really find for them because, like, obviously in this game they've conceded 3. This is a little bit of an anomaly for a Dyche team. Normally they don't concede that many goals, but I mean, if they kept that down to like a 1-1 game, and I think they would have rued the chances that they missed because that happens a lot. They just aren't able to punish teams for not attacking them and not getting their chances off. They aren't able to punish teams for not being clinical because they aren't clinical themselves, which is quite disappointing a lot of times in Forest games. Jaden Bogle, goal scorer, been very impressive in this. Jaden Bogle was very impressive with his forward movement in this game, and I've liked this guy this season. He's been poor in this other stints in the Premier League, but he started to really impress, in my opinion. And this game was no different. He's really good down that right hand side, whether they play a 4 and he's on the right flank, or if they play a 5 and he's the right-sided defender. He is always explosive. He's always potent going forward, and I mean he showed it again in this game against Forest, in a game where they were obviously poorer defensively, which isn't always the case for them. But I mean, he was able to exploit that, and he did a very good job of doing that. Okafor with a goal in the end. He's been great for Leeds so far. He's the kind of striker profile that I have a bit of a soft spot for. He's that kind of a Nielsen build, because I think he was a winger before. I don't think he's always been a striker, but he's been putting the numbers in for Leeds where sometimes he hasn't been performing amazingly. He's been scoring goals, and he's a good. He's actually fairly decent in the box, seeing as he wasn't always a striker. But yeah, another goal in that game, and he's just continued to impress in his Leeds shirt. And the 3 points for Leeds is Ilya Gruev, defensively solid and got 2 assists in the end, 2 nice passes, and yeah, it was a really good performance from the guy. Not someone that stood out too much for me this season, but this was a game where he really showed a bit of quality, showed a bit about him, and I don't watch 90 minutes of Leeds every game, so I can't make a certain assessment for or against him in terms of the potential of him, but I think he looks fairly decent. He's looked fairly decent in that game, and one or two others where he's impressed. So, yeah, if he could keep these performances up, then there's a place in that Leeds team for the foreseeable going for him. And I mentioned him earlier. The new man Lucas scored. It was just a consolation goal, but they signed. He did exactly what they signed him for. He's 6'7" presence in the box. That's massive. Like you can't like ignore that in the Premier League, especially. That'll do so much for you. Scored the header. It was a really good header, but yeah, I mean it's a good sign. It is a good sign. Didn't have too much service at all. I mean, there was a contrast in the other game, which we'll speak about obviously in a bit. But yeah, the lack of service didn't really help. It was a poor Forest day, and he came on, I believe, and he scored. And I mean, it didn't mount anything, it didn't spark a comeback, but I think it was his debut, so it's yeah, it was his debut. So his debut in the Premier League to get a goal, it could really be worse, couldn't it? This game has kind of encapsulated Spurs' season so far. I think they looked okay before Romero got sent off. There's nothing mind blowing, but then there's a mistake, and then the heads drop, and then the other team just starts to walk all over you. It was after, I mean, Romero's challenge was a red card. Let's not try and defend the guy here. He's gone in over the ball. He's taken Casemiro at his ankle, or above his ankle, like on the bit on the slope up of his foot. It was pretty dangerous, and he's coming with a lot of force. It was the right decision by the referee. It's just disappointed, He's a leader in that team. He's one of the more experienced players they've got, and he's been at the club for a while now. And you wouldn't expect him to. Well, I know it's him, but you wouldn't expect him to. Okay, someone in his situation, someone with his experience and caliber in the game, to me making stupid rash challenges like that. He's just very, very disappointing in that sense. And I mean, he's put himself out for 4 games in a. When he complained about Spurs not having any available players, he's just gone and made himself unavailable for an extended period of time. Which is, I mean, you are part of the problem. Like, what are you doing? Um, United were good. They looked threatening, as they have done under Carrick. The goals they scored were really nice as well. Really, really nice technical finishes. It's just, I mean, it's dire at the moment at Spurs. They've obviously gone on to sack Frank. I'll speak more about that in a little bit, but it's taken them too long. I'll say that for sure. Goal scorer and Mbeumo with 1 point in that game. It was a really good goal that he scored. Really nice little technical finish. He's been a breath of fresh air for United this season. Out of the three big forward signings they made, I think he has been the best. He's been the most exciting. He's been the most consistent and clinical as well. So yeah, he's got that going for him. And another game where he scores, another game where he just impresses. I mean, Ange said that he was looking at Mbeumo for Spurs when he was there. And I mean, when you look at performances like this, you can't say that it's surprising to any capacity. I don't know what Mainu had done to Amarim to offend him, but the fact that Amarim didn't even slightly compromise his clearly shit system to accommodate Mainu is, I mean, that's the reason why he's not a Premier League manager anymore. This guy is just incredible, man. He's so composed in the midfield. He shows maturity like so far beyond his actual age, and in that game he was running the show from deep. He was on everything. His passing was great. His off the ball work rate was good. His tackling was good. He's such a good player. He's such a good player, and he's starting to thrive now that United have got someone of like ability to recognise the fact that he's a good player. And Carrick clearly trusts him. I mean, he's a United midfielder. He understands what it takes to work for this club, and he clearly sees the value in Mainu. And it's so surprising to me that Amarim didn't see it. And it's the main man again with 3 points. Bruno Fernandes. He got the goal. He was overall creatively incredible, and it's just another good Bruno performance, man. It's just is what he does. He did it again. He just keeps plugging away these performances. He keeps being the star man for that United team, and he's just a level above. He is so quality, and I mean, if I was a United fan, I'd love the guy to death. I'd be building the statue myself. He's really got the team on his back a lot of the time. He's not the only good player there now, which is good for him. There's other players there that are positive and that can obviously change the game. Like Mbuemo's there, and you got Mainu, Cunha off the bench, Sesko at times as well. But yeah, it's helpful for Bruno that the emphasis isn't always on him now. Give Vicario 1 point. I think he made a lot of saves in that game. That, I mean, if they went in, it would be 5-0 to United. He kept it respectable. He kept it a reasonable scoreline. I mean, a 5-0 loss probably would have got the gaffer sacked, so he probably should have let some goals in, to be honest with you. But yeah, he did what really all he could. I mean, he couldn't do anything about the goals. They were just good finishes. He tried his best. Yeah, not the most, not the point that he'll probably shout about. He won't go home telling his wife and kids about it. But he didn't do he didn't do badly nonetheless. Bournemouth 1, Villa 1. This is a disappointing game from my perspective because we did really well to hold out, but we should have been holding out a 1-0. The whatever happened to Digne for that goal, I don't know who possessed him, I don't know what came over him, but that was just not good enough. He literally just lets Ryan breeze past him, and I know he's not the most like defensively solid left back in the world, but Matson would not have put that lack of effort in. That is 100% for sure. Matson would have gone in for him and try and made a challenge and actually made him difficult to beat. Digne just let him breeze past. That is inexcusable. At any level of football, at under fives or in the Premier League or at the World Cup or in the fourth division, it's just not good enough. Bournemouth did deserve more than a point in that game in terms of the balance of the game. They had us under the cosh for a lot of it, and I'm not trying to say that we should have won the game, but in my opinion, the from what I saw and from the chances that we were able to keep out, I think we probably could have gone on to win that game if that um, chance doesn't go in, and that chance doesn't go in if Digne gives him more of a challenge. Well, I mean, it's if buts and maybes in it, but I think if Digne gives him more of a challenge, gives Martinez more of a time to adjust, gives players time to come over, cover the box and stuff, I think there's a good chance that doesn't go in. It's I don't want to harp on about one chance in a game and pin all the blame on Digne, but I think that's such a disappointing way to concede a goal that it has to be talked about to some capacity. And yeah, outside of that, we didn't look fantastic. The first half was fairly balanced from what I saw and heard. Slightly in Bournemouth's favour, if anything. We didn't have too many chances going for. Watkins again offered really minimal. Like he didn't offer anything at all, in my opinion. Well, I say anything at all. He didn't really offer anything much. It wasn't impressing me in the slightest. Yeah, it's just it's not a bad point, all things considered, but it's not a good point either, based on the balance of the game. I mean, we'll take it. Uno took it, so I guess we can be happy in it. But no, I think we could have got more out of that game. For Bournemouth, it's not too bad. They've started to turn their form around now, which is positive. I mean, we're not an easy team to play against. Doesn't matter what form we're in. You know, I know we're struggling slightly, but we aren't the worst team in the world. Like you are going to get a game against us, and we held them out well. But they were all over us for quite a lot of that game, and they performed better than the goals than they got. They missed a few chances that they really should have converted. But yeah, they did a good job in that game, so they can take a bit of solace from that. Adley was pretty crucial in everything that Bournemouth did in that game. He was very, very positive going forward, and he started to unlock a side of himself now that we couldn't really see because Tavernier and Cliver were out. I think this is start a bit of a shift towards the younger core again for Bournemouth going forward. They've had Tavernier and Cliver who are pushing 30 at some point soon. They're in their late 20s at least, and Adley, Ryan, and players like that signed that new Hungarian lad as well. So they're starting to shift in that new young core that will probably be there for a good 3 seasons before going for ridiculous fees. But Ali was great in that game. He was feeding a lot of the chances. He started to perform quite well now. I'm quite liking watching him play football, and it's good. It's always good to see a former FIFA wonder kid do well as well. James Hills is kind of the most basic player I've seen for a while. He's not impressed me too much. I don't think he's anything massively amazing, but he did well in that game. He got the assist, and he kept us locked down because we struggled in terms of chance creation. And I mean, I'm pocketing Watkins this season hasn't been the most difficult feat in the world, but Hill certainly did it. So he's got to be given credit for that at least. And Ryan with the 3 points. This guy's special. I mean, this guy is seriously, seriously something. I think it's 2 goals and an assist already this season in the Premier League, and he's just looks every inch the Brazilian superstar sensation that Bournemouth clearly thought he would be and hoped he would be. I also doubt he's going to be there past next season. He's such a player, and in that game he was doing the most. He scored the goal. It's a really clever little finish at the near post because he gave. With the time that he took, you'd think, okay, maybe he's gonna pick his spot far corner, but he just didn't. He just knocked it past Martinez's leg. He didn't have time to react, and yeah, it's a very mature finish for a very young player. We have struggled in games where we haven't had Anana on many occasions now this season, and genuinely has been one of our best players in the year. Um, when it comes to Villa Player of the Season, I'm sure Rodgers will get it because it's Rodgers, but this guy genuinely should get a look in because when he's fit, he is one of our best players. I'm not even joking here. I think he's still so underrated because of all the attention that Kamara and Tielemans get, rightly so, obviously. But I think Anana is just he's just amazing. I love the guy, and he is so important in a physical sense, and a progressive sense in that midfield. He is so well rounded, and yeah, in that game as well, he saved us on quite many occasions with important interceptions and crucial tackles. So he gets 1 point for me. I know he didn't score. I know he didn't score the goal. I know Roger scored, but I think Sancho was more impressive in that game. I'm starting to see the light with Sancho. I'm starting to be impressed with a lot more of his performances now. He's starting to adapt a lot more to Emery football. He's a slow learner, I think, from what we've seen so far this season. Just took a long time to get on the starting 11, but yeah, man, I'm starting to get really impressed with him. He's cut his side for that goal was really good. I was really impressed with it. His general creative play was very promising as well, and it gives me hope that if he can just start putting that ball in the back of the net a little bit more, getting a couple more assists, that we could have a he could complete the full Rashford arc, and maybe his contract runs out at the end of the season. Maybe we're going for him for free. I mean, I'll be here for it. If he's willing to take a wage cut, then do it all. I'm happy for it. It's crazy to me that people still call Emi Martinez overrated because no one outside of Villa really rates him that much. Everyone thinks he's overrated because he won the 2 Yashin trophies, and I mean, fair enough if you think that. But the performances he can put in, and the performances he's capable of putting in are genuinely incredible. Like he was so good in that Bournemouth game. He made so many important saves, and he kept us in it. He kept us in it and gave us a hope, and maybe we could get the point. Maybe we even go try and sneak the three, which we didn't do. But it was down to him that we got a point from that game at all in the end. So yeah, he has to be given credit. I mean, people that think he's an awful keeper, just like, do you actually watch the guy? Not at all. Arsenal 3, Sunderland nil isn't necessarily the scoreline I expected. I did think that Sunderland could scrape something from it, given Jesus Christ, sorry, given the fact that they are a team that can fight against the odds and work against the adversity. And I thought when they went 1-0 down, maybe there's still a chance they scrape a result, but no, the way that Arsenal shut that game out was very impressive. Sunderland looked empty, they looked poor. They really struggle in that midfield. They so struggle without Xhaka. It's ridiculous, man. Like they don't know what to do without him almost. And they don't have bad players in that area. It's just that they aren't the same outfit at all without Xhaka, and their reliance on him can almost be detrimental at times, which makes me nervous for them going forward. Because if Xhaka either leaves, which I don't think he will, I think he's formed a massive attachment now to that team and that club and the fans. But if he retires, if he has a long-term injury, if he's out for a good 3-4 months at the start of next season, you start to think, well, hold on here, they could be in trouble now. And Arsenal, this is very routine. This looked like a team that were top of the league. This looked like a team this looked like title contenders playing against a newly promoted team. Is the best way it can really be described. They didn't really have too much trouble. They didn't face much resistance at all. And I mean, Sunderland have started to hit a little bit of a rough patch, which is fine. I mean, they're not going to get relegated, so they're not going to slip down to like 15th, 16th. They've kind of done what they need to do, so they can afford to lose to teams like Arsenal because and Liverpool as well, because they've built up so much good form and good karma and points that they don't need to worry about slipping too far because they're not going to go down, which is kind of what they would have been aiming for this season, and they've got a really good platform now to build on going forward. I mean, I don't like the guy in the football sense. I do think he's a like I don't rate him. I don't think he's a very good football player. But Havertz in that game was undeniably good. His creative work was really solid. He was making a lot happen for Arsenal in that game, and I believe he got one of the assists for Gyökeres in the end, which kind of rewards him for his hard work. And I mean, him coming back in is positive for Arsenal because they have got another option. I still personally, I'm not a fan, but I know Arsenal fans like him. I know Arteta likes him, so that means a lot more than my dislike, I'm sure. Gyökeres with the brace, saw the game off, killed the game off, did what he needed to do. I saw some people arguing that those goals weren't important. I think goals past the point of like 2-0, not necessarily. But I think at 1-0, if you score a goal and make it 2-0, that's really important because you make the heads drop at that point. If a team is still clinging in there at 1-0, you think as a team, okay, we are holding on. If we can get one chance, we can get a point from this. But then when you get to 2-0, you start to think, okay, now we've got a mountain to climb. If Sunderland would hold off and then score one, it would still be 2-1, and then they'd still have that mental blockade. It's a big psychological impact having that 2 goal buffer, and it impacts the way that people manage games. So Gyökeres' goals were important, and the third one will be the icing on the cake. It will be a bit of confidence for him, it can only be a good thing, really. And Zubimendi with 3 points got a goal, and overall, I mean, I know they didn't have him in the midfield. I know they didn't have Xhaka, but I mean, Zubimendi just absolutely marshalled. He just controlled it from deep. He was the main man in that game for Arsenal, and yeah, he was fantastic. Looked every penny in that game. I'm really impressed with his performances so far. He had that one mistake obviously against United, but it happens to everyone, and he's bounced back really well and had a really good game off the back of a poor one out last time. Burnley should have done a lot better in that game than they did. They had quite a bit of chance to bring something back and score a goal in the game, and they had a few opportunities where you think a better quality side would have took these away, and Burnley just don't look that. I mean, I know they won their last game, but I just don't see it for them. I think the ship has sailed, personally, unless they go on some crazy winner form like Vitor Pereira's Wolves did last season, then I just don't see them staying up. I'm sorry, I just don't. Um, this was a good win for West Ham though, and it's an important win because going away to a team in a relegation battle with you isn't an easy thing to do, and they did it, and they did it well. They saw the game off early. They were the better team, and they won in the end. They got the 3 points. They put even more distance and daylight between Burnley and themselves, which is really important in such a close relegation battle. And yeah, I mean, overall, Nuno started to turn it around now. He's needed a bit of time. I was thinking, are they going to sack him as well? Because, I mean, there was a point where he came in and it was not looking good, but he started to get them firing, and they are doing really well at the moment. I think Lucas Pires off the left was the kind of only positive light for Burnley in that game. He was offering them quite a bit from that side, putting in a few crosses. The players he was crossing to were poor, unfortunately for him, so he couldn't he couldn't reflect that in assists or anything, but he did create quite a lot of chances. And I mean, yeah, it's just a shame that the people on the end of them weren't very competent in that one. Tati Castellanos with his first West Ham goal, and it was a good finish. It was a good header, rose above the defender, and yeah, I mean, he hasn't been as bad. He hasn't been as bad as I thought he would be this season. He's been pretty decent. I haven't minded him so far, and it's good for him to get a goal because that can usually, well, sometimes it does, but it can catapult you into good form. So if he starts getting a few, putting a few on the goal sheet, then West Ham will be in a really good position to fight and stay up. I mean, with Forest sacking Deitch, I think it's all the possibility in the world. I could very much see a world where West Ham stay up now, and I didn't think that after they got duppied by Wolves. I mean, this guy's just in great form. He's been one of the best players so far in 2026. Somerville. I'd given him a few points earlier on in the season when he hadn't scored, and I thought, oh, maybe people are going to think, oh, it's pretty poor. He's not that good of a player, but he's starting to make people sit up and take notice. His goal contributions have skyrocketed. He's getting the GA to match how he's looked so far this season. I think he's been very underrated off the flank for West Ham so far, and he's starting to put together, the goals and assists to prove his ability. But in the end, I think the West Ham's best player in that game was El Hadji Malik Diouf. I really like this guy. In terms of a progressive left back, he's fantastic. He's really good on the cross. He's very fast, and he showed West Ham fans what they missed when he went to AFCON. He is a really, really valuable asset for them, and for their sake, I hope they don't have to, that the distance I think between him and Ollie Scholes is a lot. I don't think Scholes is bad. I think he's just average, and I think Diouf has the ability to go all the way. Fulham Everton was a bit of a nothing game, to be honest. It was a game where a draw I kind of thought was going to happen, and it was looking like that. The unfortunate Mikolenko own goal, which was repaid in the end by Leno, but then a nice little Dewsbury Hall finish as well. I thought this would be a draw because Fulham are decent at home, but Everton are a solid team anyway. They're starting to get players back now. It's a shame that Grealish's season is over because that's an attacking spot they're really going to miss, in my opinion. Uh, they did look as if they did struggle to create a little bit, and without Grealish there, I think that's gonna potentially continue. I don't know how much Tyreek George is really gonna help on the creative side. I thought he was always more of like a second striker kind of thing, like a guess on kind of thing. Um, but yeah, man, I mean, it's a good 3 points. The Fulham have been good at home this season, so Everton can take credit from that. That I don't know I don't know about Europe for Everton. They aren't very consistent, really. But Brighton have dropped off. Bournemouth and Spurs and Newcastle don't seem to consistently be in the race. So it's there for the taking. A team like Brentford or Everton could very realistically and very feasibly get European football this season, and I think that I think they have strengthened with George, obviously, but I think they've especially more so than Brentford taken leaps in the transfer market towards that. I'm very hopeful for the future for Everton. They look pretty solid, and there's a European place for them up for grabs this season if they can get it. Smith Rowe was kind of at the heart of a lot of good that came from Fulham in that game. I was pretty impressed with his performance, especially as he seemed to be a bit of a forgotten man. He started to come into the side more recently and start to have quite a big impact, and I think that can continue. I believe he got an assist. I'm not 100% on that. It was a while ago now, so it does elude me a little bit, but it wouldn't surprise me if he did because he's been on decent form for Fulham recently. So yeah, he's got it in his bag. He's doing really well at the moment, and it's a point deserved. I think it was Chuck Wasey's shot that led to the mix up at the back with the save onto Mikolenko. It is unfortunate, but it was a good effort from Chuck Wasey. Pickford could have done a bit better, but it's done. What's done is done now. So he's just a player. I don't know what's going to happen to him next season, but I think he could be doing a job anywhere higher than Fulham. I'd happily have him at Villa Park. I think it'd be amazing for us. Like Emery would work wonders with Chuck Wasey, especially if he's not wanted at Milan. So yeah, mate, I'd completely take him all day long. I'm sure Fulham fans love him as well, and he's been so good this season. So yeah, same. It was the same again in that game, so he gets 2 points. Harrison Armstrong gets his first points this season for Everton. I haven't been particularly impressed with his cameos so far. He's a young lad, so obviously he has time to grow. But I think he's in that game. I think he showed a side of that. There's something to him. He showed a bit of creativity, a bit of flair that I think was lacking previously. Um, it's made me kind of think, okay, that's decent, that's positive. I'm a fan of that. I can see something in this kid now. I didn't necessarily beforehand. Bloody hell. I mean, I'm not going to change my opinions off one game, but a spark is better than nothing in my opinion. And while he'll probably go out on loan next season, I think it's a good step in the right direction for the kid. And Kieran Dewsbury Hall with 2 points. His finish was a really nice goal. That was a really nice effort. Ultimately gave them the launch pad to go on and win the game. I mean, the goal was poor from Leno anyway, but yeah, that can't take away from Dewsbury Hall's finish. And his overall midfield performance was really solid. I think at the end of the season, it's I think he will go down as signing of the season for Everton. I think he is more consistent than Grealish, and obviously Grealish is injured now, so I think he's going to absolutely drill out some good performances and give himself the launch pad to be that signing of the season. Um, yeah, I've been impressed. I'm very impressed with Keenan Dewsbury, and if he can keep himself fit, keep himself consistently playing, then yeah, man, good little player. Maybe conversations about a World Cup spot, but I don't think it'll happen for the guy. This was surprising to me because St James's Park is a really difficult place to go, and Brentford have struggled away from home this season. But Newcastle, man, they looked poor. Like, I thought I was very disappointed in their performance in that game. Um, there was the game was so there for the taking. At 2-2, Newcastle should have gone on to win that game, and I would have put money on them going on to win that game. But, like, fair play to Brentford. Some of the heart that they show and the performances that they put in, the results that they get is mental. Like, they are doing so well at the moment. They're in such good form. I'm actually genuinely really impressed with how they've done, and they've taken like everyone by surprise because everyone said they were going to get relegated. And I mean, it was fair enough to think that at the time, but they've just shut everyone up, and it's been great to see. I mean, it's annoying that they've taken 6 points off us because if we beat them twice, we'd be equal with Arsenal right now. But 1 point off Arsenal. But yeah, I mean, Newcastle they have got to sort of turn it around at some point. Their results have been poor. The performances have dropped off. Voltemade has dropped off. They look in the midfield quite unsure at times. They're slightly carried by Bruno Guimaraes. They look poor without him, and mate, they should have reinforced in January. I know PSR is a bitch, but they needed to think of something because it's not looking good for them at the moment. They are very far away, in my opinion, from a team that is going to finish in a European spot this season. The only Newcastle player for me with a bit of redeeming quality about him is Bruno Guimaraes. He is their best player at the moment and generally. I think it was a goal and assist. I think he scored the penalty. Yeah, he scored from the spot, and yeah, he gets them on their back quite a lot, and it's annoying in a sense because there's ability that they aren't showing and that they aren't putting out, so he shouldn't be carrying them. But also, I mean, I don't really like Newcastle that much, so I don't care. But they should be performing a lot better considering the amount of good players that they've got. Thiago with a goal from the spot. His overall attacking work rate is always good, but it was especially so in this game, and he caused quite a lot of issues. He's been missing a few chances recently, and did so against Arsenal, which obviously I'll speak more on later. But he yeah, he's he does need to kind of keep his form and keep his head a little bit because he started to let those poor misses creep into his game, which isn't great for him. But I mean, if you always a goal from the penalty spot is good. He's very composed, really nice little finish, and do what he needed to do in the moment. So he's still deserving a 1 point, even though he did miss a chance here or there. I've been very impressed with Janelt's performances recently for Brentford. I do believe he got a goal in that game as well, and he's come back into the side and been really good. His experience for that team, Foxham, not been over. Apologies. His experience in that team is invaluable. He knows the club inside out. It's been there for so long at this point that yeah. Again, another great performance for him. I don't know why he wasn't getting the game time previously. I know Henderson was in the team a lot and stuff, but I guess maybe the good turn in form has kind of come from his inclusion as well. I mean, Henderson wasn't bad, but Janelt's been great. And again, 3 points with Tara. I'm still not. I'm gonna wait to the end of the season to judge Tara. I think I'm not 100% on him still. I'll change my opinion of as the season changes, but I'll need to get a good account for his season at Brentford to make an assessment because I really didn't rate the signing at the time, but he has kind of he's proven his worth, but I don't know if he's proven 40 million's worth, especially to a team like Brentford who don't spend that money a lot. Nevertheless, in that game, I thought he was amazing. I thought his creative work was just incredible. I thought his goal at the end was fantastic, really clutch moment, and the massive 3 points that he got in the end for Brentford. So he does deserve 3 points, definitely. Wolves Chelsea was exactly kind of what we all expected. I think anyone would have gone into that game thinking that Chelsea were gonna lose or draw. The manner in which they won was slightly less convincing, almost for me. I find that when you score two penalties, it kind of makes you wonder what would have happened if you didn't get those fouls. They were poor challenges from Wolves, and they both were pens. I know they did debate them at the time. The manager wasn't too sure, but there were penalties. Come on, let's not take the piss here. Um, Wolves did show a little bit of fight, a little bit of character to get back in. Well, not get back into the game, but get a goal in that game, and that's something that they've had a lot more of under Edwards. Like under Pereira, they just looked like a team that didn't give a shit. And I also think the loss of Strand Larsen has kind of allowed Arakadare to understand his role as now the main man in that Wolves team, and I think that's going to help him. I think that's going to be a great assistance to him going forward, and I think that's going to almost aid his form because he doesn't have to compete for game time with he doesn't have to compete for game time with him, and he doesn't have to worry about him and can just focus on playing football. For Chelsea, it's a good 3 points, man. It's good 3 points and good performance. So, to be honest, if that's what they got in the game, then they can just move on. As far as I'm concerned, it's what they want in every game, and it came to them. Goal scorer Arakadare does get 1 point for Wolves. He has started to impress a bit more, and like I said just now, I don't think that's any coincidence. Now it's Strand Larsen's left, and was thinking about leaving before. He's overall play. He's a lot more involved now as well in chances, which is really good. Um, Especially because Wolves do struggle a lot creatively at times, so that's really necessary from their perspective that they got someone that can step in and be a goal scorer and someone who makes it happen from deep. So he's got 1 point in that game, and it's a very deserved point in my opinion. And again, Mateus Mane comes on and well, not comes on, but Mateus Mane impresses. He's just their shining light, man. His creative work was great. I do wonder how much he is just shining in a shit team. He could be Tyler Dibbling again in the sense that he's not a bad player, but he looks bad. He looks great amongst people who don't care and don't want to be there. Um, but either way, I guess we'll find out. But I do really like Mane. I played against he on FM. He signed for Cambridge after getting released by Wolves, and he spun me a new one. So that gives me all the confidence I need that he's going to be an incredible player. Joao Pedro's got a point in that game. He won penalties. He was a general nuisance for Wolves. He didn't score, but I don't think you need to. Sometimes, if you have a good game like that and you don't score, I don't think you can get too upset. Obviously, as a striker, you want the goals, but like he played really well. He had a really good game, so it don't really matter where the goals come from in that sense. Obviously, for the confidence, it's good, but he played really well, and yeah, I mean, he's showing more the traits that he showed at Brighton of that kind of deep line forward, that role that he played really well while he was there. And he's playing his role amazingly now at the moment as well, as more of a number nine. Hit really good form. I'm really impressed with his performances of recent. So, yeah, especially because that is 1 point. Cucurella once again with another good showing. Assist from left back for Palmer's goal. And genuinely speaking, I mean, it's Wolves. It's not that difficult to lock them down. But you can only beat who you're up against, and I mean, he played really well, obviously against inferior opposition, but it doesn't matter. He still had a good showing. You can't take that away from him in any sense. So he has got 2 deserved points, and it is game week 25's player of the week, Cole Palmer. I know he scored 2 penalties, so it does boost him up a bit, but a hat trick is a hat trick at the end of the day. Um, he his third goal was really nice. And at the end of the day, penalties are still pressure situations. You got to score them. His overall play was good outside of that. He was creatively positive. And if it wasn't for those goals, then did Chelsea win that game? You never know, and you don't need to know because he scored them. So I mean, he did what he could, man. We can't shit on him for scoring against worse teams because the goals were necessary. Like I understand the criticism Gyökeres gets at times for him scoring unimportant goals against bad teams. But at the end of the day, he still scored. You can't really take that away from him that much, can you? Brighton, for me, in recent months, have become a team that I don't particularly enjoy reviewing on this series, and it's a shame because Brighton have the potential to play really exciting stuff and be a very enjoyable team to watch, but they aren't at the moment. They are really they're really nothing a lot of the times. They're very games. They're very missable games. I mean, against Villa at home, well, home for us anyway. That game, I didn't watch it. I was working yesterday, but at the time recording anyway, I was working, but yeah, they were just. It was they just are quite a drab team to watch. They're a bit uninspiring. Hersler's not really got them going anywhere at the moment. It's not promising. I can't say that I'm really confident in Brighton. And Palace aren't an exciting team as it is, but if you've let them win their first game in 11 games, I think it is, then that shows that there's something wrong. Brighton they've dropped a lot of points. It's the same thing that happened to Bournemouth earlier on the season. They were sitting in the European spots, and all of a sudden, whoa, they're in what 13th, and people are like, how the fuck did you get there? For Palace, it's a very good win because it's away at your rivals. You need to win that game, and they did. I mean, if it gets their form turning again, then who knows? I guess we will have to wait and see on that one. But yeah, it's not a game full of talking points. I'll put it that way. I think in some ways, Gross represents the shift in Brighton. I mean, his performances have been good, and he has been playing well. I'm not trying to doubt that in the slightest, but he's nothing new. If you see what I mean, it's not new and fresh. It's not like exciting and something new for them to explore. He's gone. It's a bit of a regression because obviously they would have wanted to move on from him when he left for Dortmund, but it doesn't seem to be the case. He's obviously been playing well. It's not what I'm trying to say, but I'm trying to say in the sense that Brighton have gone a bit Like they haven't been exciting me much recently, and the signing of Gross isn't one that will really ruffle a lot of feathers in that sense. So, but he's been playing well from midfield. He's been one of their only decent players of recent. So fair play to him. He's got 1 point, but it's nothing really to write home about. It just is so Villa that Gesson would go to a new team after stinking it up the gaff for 6 months, and then within his first 5 minutes of his debut, get an assist. Look, man, he did not work at Villa. That's something that we can all admit. He didn't work at Villa. I think he'll say it so himself. We didn't know how to use him properly. He didn't fit the system. I don't really know why we wanted to go for him if we weren't going to use him rightly. We could have spent that money elsewhere. We could have used that money and kept Marlon. We didn't have all this bollocks, man. But he did well in that game. He came on and he looked quick. He looked dangerous, which isn't something he looked in Villa colours at any real point. I wanted to give the guy a chance. I really did, but I had to give up on it at some point. Like he was going nowhere fast. We were giving game time to him. That I mean, I'd rather kept Jimmo and used him over Gesson. So yeah, just didn't work. Wasn't the right move for either party. But now he's at Palace. I think he's going to do pretty well there this season. And fingers crossed, activate the buy clause, so we can recoup a little bit of money and then some. Lacroix was huge for Palace in that game. With the departure of Gay, he's going to be so significant for them going forward because he's the big man now. He's the one in the defence that they need to rely on, and I think he's going to do a really good job. He's really, really good defender. He's a really quick defender, very strong, and he can get Palace on his back. I think for the rest of the season until they either put their trust fully in Canvo or Riyadh or go in for someone else. And Sarr comes back in and he scores. Being forced up front in that game wasn't fun, probably. But, I mean, he got on the end of the chance. It was one of the only chances in the game. It wasn't a game of a lot of opportunities at all. And he got on the end of that chance and he made the most of it. And that's literally what he needed to do because that's one in the game in the end. So it's 3 points. He didn't get a lot of service in the tie, but he did what he needed to do in the moment. A very Haaland-esque performance. And rounding out the game week, fuck me, what a game this was. I'm so upset that I couldn't watch this in full because I was working at the time. But, mate, what a showing these two put on. Every time they play football, it's just cinema. It just is. It works. It's something about them that's just, they just go so well together. And the shit that kicked off at the end, amazing scenes. It's just what you want to see in football. Such a good fixture, such a good game. And I mean, Liverpool should be disappointed in the manner that it went down. And they're without Szoboszlai now for a few weeks, which obviously there's. I think they just let that go. To be honest with you, if you're gonna follow by the rule book, then do that. But I think you can just let that go. In my opinion, I don't think that's particularly offensive. I don't think either team would mind that. Obviously, they'd view that Haaland will pawn him down, but at the end of the day, it's six of one, half a dozen of the other. In my opinion, Is Szoboszlai pulls him and then Haaland pulls him. You can't disadvantage both teams by bringing the free kick and then giving the red card. That doesn't make any sense to me. You just carry it on. If anything, I think that would have been the clever thing to do. But anyway, I mean that's something that's so far over my head that I don't. I'm just not even going to register it. I'm not even going to focus on it because I think it takes up energy and takes up time that could be spent focusing on the really good end-to-end game that we had. It was so entertaining. Honestly, it really was. Both teams had good chances. Both teams were putting the pressure on, and at the end, City came up top. I know he got the red card. I know he did, but you have to admire that finish, man. What the fuck? Who like this guy? How he's got the curve on that in the way that he shot the ball in off the post. It's one of the most aesthetically pleasing goals I've seen for a very long time, a very long time. And his overall general play was really good still, and he let himself down by keeping him on side for the first one and getting himself red carded. But in the end of the day, I mean, he can afford to do that given the fact that he had a really good performance, in my opinion, outside of it. Well, not afford to do it, but I can let him off and give him the point. So that's what I'm kind of trying to say there. Bernardo Silva with the goal that got City back in the game. His movement was really good from that. It went from the back post, made the run, and I think no, actually didn't. It was at the front post, made the running behind when Haaland's flick on. He was alert to it and he got the goal off. And that's what you need from a top quality midfielder. So that's fair play. That is from Bernardo. He's done a really good job there. Mr. Mark Gahey was, I think, very imperious in that game. He made a few important blocks and a few important tackles that kept City alive in the game. So it's 2 points awarded for him. And yeah, man, he's had a decent start to his time. I think. I don't think he's put too many feet wrong, and he's started to settle in. And I think you're going to see a bit more good performances from him. But the big man got 3 points. I mean, his assist was beautiful work, man. That's a really good link-up play. I think he had a very un-Haaland-esque overall good game. He didn't just score the penalty, that's a massive moment. That he has to score that. There's no if buts or maybes. Keep City alive and kicking in the title fight. Keep win them the game in the last minute pretty much. And yeah, man, he had to do it's a massive pressure situation that a lot of other players would have struggled in, but he did it, and he's the only one that can really he's the one that you trust in that situation in it to do something like that. So yeah, man, that's really good work from Erling. It's game week 26 now. Yay! If you haven't been fed up enough of my voice already, it's Chelsea 2, Leeds 2, and Chelsea should have had this game in the bag. They got very lazy for the two goals. Caicedo, poor. You have to be doing better than that. You can't throw in a lazy challenge like that. I don't know why he did it. It was rash and it was a silly tackle. Leeds did well, showed the character to get back in it. But again, for the second goal, I don't care if you think it's handball or not. What the fuck were Chelsea doing? They had so much opportunity to clear that ball that it's almost beggars belief that they didn't. I genuinely could not tell you what's happened. And Palmer as well, mate. What is going on there? Last minute of the game, you are quite literally almost inside of the goal. I cannot physically tell you how he hasn't scored that. It's like mental, but it's a massive point for Leeds in the end, and Chelsea really, really should have done a lot better. I'm going to give him a point because he did score the pen and he did get a lovely little assist for Pedro. But if he would have scored that goal at the end, he probably would have got 3. But that's such a crucial moment that he has to be like lower down for that. Because mate, how do you miss that? I would have scored that, and I've got 2 left feet for fuck's sake. But either way, Palmer, outside of that horror show at the end, had a good game. He was creatively positive. He did look a bit like Palmer of old. He's slowly coming back into it. After the World Cup, he has to get that fucking groin surgery because mate, he's going to be a different beast when he gets that fixed up. So he can limp through it until the summer, and then after that, he needs to get straight on the operation table. Pedro's finish was beautiful, man. I'm very much growing to enjoy watching Pedro play football. That goal was like lovely. That chip, mate, that's just dirty work. And the positive movement as well to win the penalty in the end. It is a penalty. It's 2 hands in the back. And yeah, it's just again a nuisance for Leeds and again caused issues. Bogle again, Ole. I think he scored, didn't he? Was he the one that did well off that? Yeah, I think it was him that scored off that mess. But either way, again from the right hand side, very very good performance. It's almost it's almost surprise. It should be surprising to people that he's doing well, but people should be adapting their perceptions of him to understand how like good of a season he's really having. Fucking, but yeah, man, yeah, I'm very much enjoying the work of Bogle so far, and another good points scoring performance against Chelsea. And Metcha with a goal and assist in that game. I know it's a penalty, but similar to Palmer, and didn't miss that chance at the end, so he gets 2 points really. Um, I mean the assist is a bit like I don't know. It shouldn't have been an assist because it's an awful mess at the back. But he's not going to complain. He got it in the end. So what? I'm not going to slander him for it really. This was a really big win for Bournemouth. This is a kind of a show that their form is really turning around now, and that they have the guts to go about and change their fortunes a little bit, because they had a massive drop off that FM winter form they had. They were struggling a lot, but yeah, Everton, that's poor, man. They slipped for 5 minutes, lost concentration, and Bournemouth go and take the game from them. Those two men again, Adley, Ryan. Like I said earlier, their form, they're getting a bit scary now. Like you don't want to mess with those two at all at this point. And it's another 3 points, and Bournemouth again starting to crawl themselves back up the table, climb themselves back up into maybe European challenges. But it's gonna be we're gonna have to see how if they can continue this, especially after, I don't know if they're in the FA Cup or not, but after the weekend's FA Cup games as well. Only really Ndiaye gets any credit for me for Everton, because I think outside of the penalty, it wasn't a fantastic performance. He started the penalty well; it was a really good finish, and he was, in terms of creative wise, it was only kind of him doing it for Everton. Started to, he's been a bit slow since Afcon, but he's starting to build himself back up now, starting to take that team by the scruff of the neck again. Unfortunately, it didn't lead to any points though in that game. Another big performance from Alex Jimenez. I had a FOTMob notification say that they actually bought him from Milan now, which if they have, that's really good stuff. 15 million, I think it said. I don't remember seeing it in the actual transfer window, but if they have bought him, then that's amazing work, because he's a really good little player. And I mean, right back was the only position that they didn't lose a player in last season, but they've signed a new young player there, and he's kind of been one of the stars so far. He's been one of their more impressive players of late, and definitely deserved 1 point in that game for me. Rayan again, a flary Brazilian one name winger scoring a header is like, what is going on here? It's just so against the stereotype of what we expect of them at this point that it's almost funny. But mate, if he's got headers in his game, then he's showing himself to be a very versatile player. And I mean, if he's got it all, if he can score headers, he's got it all, man. And this guy is going to be proper problem. But it is Adley with the 3 points. I mean, you could swap either one of him or Ryan, really, and I wouldn't be too offended. But yeah, I think the winning goal, massive moment for Bournemouth, and they could see it out after that, and in the end, take home the 3 points. Yeah, again, again, a massive work from Adley, and yeah, they've got a partnership forming here. They've got a little sign for the future, something to look forward to for Bournemouth fans. Spurs, Newcastle, and he is gone. Thomas Frank is sacked, and it is 2 months too late, in my opinion. He could have very feasibly gone at the end of December, and they could have had a window to build around a new gaffer. I think I've seen Igor Tudor. Tudor is linked to Spurs. I had a brain fart trying to think if that's the right pronunciation for a second, but I mean it doesn't matter. But it will if he becomes gaffer. But yeah, him to end the season is what's been rumoured. That's the way to go. Wait for Poch is what I think they're going to do, and get Poch in, get the fans on board, build up a little project around Poch, because they know that he can do that. He'll build them back up again. In terms of the game itself, yeah, they just looked shit. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Spurs just looked really bad, and Newcastle, this is a good game for them to try and start a bit of form now, because they need like to get up the table if they want to hope a Euro. Because they're not going to win the Champions League, so if they want to push for European football next season, they need to either win one of the cups, which I think they're going to go out the FA Cup on Saturday to Villa. Come on, the boys. or yeah, they need to. That's going to age really badly because I bet I'm going to post this after that game. So yeah, I can make myself look a right tit there. But yeah, this is a really important win, and if they didn't pick up a win against Spurs, then I mean, serious questions would have been asked of Eddie Howe, I think. Archie Gray seems to be one of the only players in the Spurs team that shows a like desire and shows fight in games. He seems to be very like driven and very hungry to do well, and a lot of the players in that team don't seem to share that really. And he got the goal in the end, and I think that's also something I wanted to include him because I think it's worthy of noting that he's a player that puts in 100% no matter the circumstance or the situation, and he struggled on the flank in terms of wingers because I think Gordon had a good game, but yeah, he still does deserve a point. He got the goal, and his overall heart and desire warrants it. Xavi Simons with 2 points. He was the main creative force for Spurs, and he created, but nothing was done from it. Unfortunately, Spurs were so poor in front of goal in that game that a lot of his chances just went to waste. And I think it was got a bit of an under the radar performance in terms of people didn't really see it because a lot of the news was about Thomas Frank. So yeah, it's unfortunate from that sense for him, but I think he's going to be under a much better gaffer soon. So that's 2 points there for Xavi Simons. He can take that home and be happy with that. Joe Willock with points first time this season. He looked positive. He scored the goal. Obviously, it was offside. It's really unfortunate, man. It was so close, but yeah, he looked pretty good on the wing. I think Barnes and Gordon both looked positive as well. I'm gonna spoil it for you. They didn't get points, but yeah, it was a very promising game from Newcastle. They lacked a bit of they lacked striker potency. I don't think they had that striker on the pitch. I think they went with the Willock, Barnes, and Gordon instead, which seemed to work. To be fair, all three did fairly well from what I saw. But yeah, man, good job from Willock, really. Malik Chow with 2 points. That's a goal for him, and he was massive at the back, preventing a lot of Spurs' chances. He's been very good this season so far. Malik has out from Milan. So yeah, another goal. He's put a couple in this season. I think it's about four he's got now in the Prem. There's more than quite a few important players. So yeah, good performance, good showing, 2 points. This is pretty key. This game, I've seen a lot of Newcastle fans giving it large about this Ramsey performance, saying, "Oh, you spent poor." Going, "Oh, look at what you were saying about Ramsey. Now you're laughing." You said, "Oh, imagine spending 40 million on Ramsey." It is one performance, guys. Come on. That's the key thing you have to remember here. He looked good in that game. He really, really did. He had a really good performance. I love the kid. I really want him to do well. And he looked every inch the player that we saw coming through our academy in that game. But to criticise everyone that was criticising him is unfair because he has been poor this season. Um, I'm hoping that he can use this to turn it around. It's a very positive sign. He scored, and his general midfield performance was very good. He looked comfortable in the system. He was pressing very well. He was pressing at the right moments as well, and he looked in connection with the attack very well as well. But you have got to give him time to build on this performance before you jump reactively to saying that he was worth every penny that you pay for him. West Ham 1, United 1 was not so. I didn't see this happening. I thought United were going to get that win. I thought Strand was going to get his trim. But it didn't happen like that. This is a very good sign of West Ham's turnaround, that I think. To go from I'm going to keep harking on about that Wolves performance because that was awful, and that seemed to be the moment where it woke up for them. To go from that to winning the last few games and then taking a point from a very informed, very reignited United team under Carrick is really good work actually from West Ham. I'm actually pretty impressed with their performance in this game. Um, they restricted Man United quite a lot. They didn't give United too much of a time to breathe on the ball. They didn't give United too much to attack, and they were left to a last minute rescuer from Sesko to get a point from that game. So it's really really positive work from West Ham, and if I was a West Ham fan with that game, I'd be pretty impressed, and I'd be quite confident in the fact that this is a really big step forward that they've taken, and it shows that they are able to compete against better teams now in the league. It is at home, so there is that advantage, but it's a good showing nonetheless. Fernandez again with a great performance, got an assist in that game, I think. Did he? No, he didn't. It was Bowen, but I think Fernandes from midfield was crucial in how they operate, and he has been all season for West Ham. His work in the heart of that midfield, his up and down movement, his attacking fluidity, his creative spark, but then at the same time his tenacity in midfield, the desire to put a challenge in and win the ball back is so good, and he showed that against United. I don't think he, I don't think it was his best game, but he still played very well. If he got a goal or assist that game, I think people look on him a lot higher regard. So it's a point for him. And Thomas Souček with a goal in the end. It was very good goal from Souček. It was like that season where he scored loads. That's kind of what he was showing in that game. Um, did this little helicopter, which was really nice to see. And yeah, I mean, someone that I thought West Ham would have started to phase out by now. He's been there for a while, but I think they would have been looking to move on. But he's still proving his worth and still proving that he has value to add to that team. And Buemo with a lovely cross to Sesko, put it right on his foot for the goal. And in a game where United did struggle offensively, I think he was the only one that showed a bit of a spark. They didn't. It wasn't his. Definitely wasn't his best game. Like I said, it might not have been Fernandes' best game. It definitely wasn't Buemo's best game. However, he did what he could, and I think in a game where he struggled, it just takes that one cross, and it was a perfect cross, and he got the goal in the end. I find it pretty ridiculous that Benjamin Sesko decided to. Well, not what? No, I find it pretty ridiculous that Roy Keane decided to criticise Benjamin Sesko. Why would Sesko criticise himself for that goal? It was such a nice finish, man. I mean, I know Roy's a miserable bastard sometimes. I love the guy, but I don't think you need to get upset about everything. Like, you can't get annoyed at people saying it's a good finish. This was a really nice goal. Like, it really was. The technique on that finish was great. It's another late goal from Sesko to win points for United, and another glimpse into the player that they thought they were signing. Like, they spent a lot of money on this guy, and he is showing more that so than Hoyland or Xerxes did, or any of the big name strikers that, like, there's a player in there. There's like people thought it's just a bit of a donkey, a bit of a big brute up front, but the technical ability on that, and then against his goal against who was it? Where they won, I can't remember. Where he got the winner. That goal was really lovely as well. So he's got a bit of something about him in front of goal in the technical and shooting sense. This is a massive win for us. Like I said earlier, Brighton are not an exciting team. Haven't been for the last few months. Minter came on against us, and I think he is been missing the spark that Brighton need. Like when he can come back into the starting 11, I think they'll start to look decent again. But in terms of this game, we weren't amazing by any stretch of the imagination. We had a couple of chances. Sancho looked bright early on. Rogers looked okay early on as well, but we kind of settled into rhythm. I was working again, so I didn't get to watch the game, but my bank account loves me. But I didn't really miss out on much from what I heard. Uh, Brighton just they are struggling. What the hell? Such sounds going on in this house, man. People need to shut up. But yeah, Brighton didn't strengthen enough in the window. They look They look slow, man. I wouldn't sack Hurstler. There's so much potential in the guy yet that he can get good out of him. I think in the summer they need to invest well and see what happens from there. They can't sack him before the end of the season, in my opinion, unless they go on such a dire run of form that they do look in threat. For me, Watkins wasn't good again in this game. We should have had a penalty before the corner. I know we scored from it anyway, but Abraham was pushed. There's no two ways about that. Speaking of, I would start Abraham in the next game. Definitely would start him against Newcastle, but I would start him in the next Premier League game as well against Leeds. Mainly because I, again, didn't think Watkins was very good in that game. And I think Abraham looked pretty decent against Brentford while he could. So I don't know if Emery's just brought him literally as a second choice, but I hope he hasn't, man. He needs to open his mind up a little bit to the possibility of giving Abraham a lot of game time, in my opinion. A massive save from Kadioglu for Martinez, and I think we saw both sides of Martinez in that game. There was a chance where had a shot and Martinez saved it, but then parried it almost into the path of the defender, but Matson got there and cleared it away. Matson had a good game. I probably could have given Matson points retrospectively, but I've made my bed now. I need to rest in it. But that's both sides of Martinez. He can be incredible, but he can also make a mistake here or there. But that one wasn't costly, and his overall goalkeeping play was solid. So I have no complaints from this end. But surprisingly enough, at right back, I thought Bogar was excellent. He has looked a lot better when he's played in midfield, but with Cash is out Cash out for a few games, and Garcia I think injured a little bit. I don't know what's going on with Garcia. I never really do any. I don't think anyone does. But yeah, Bogard came into right back and he looked nice, man. I was very happy with his performance. Didn't really give Mitoma much. I was going to say Mimosa for a second. Give Mitoma much of a sniff, and overall, yeah, he just locks it down. His tackling was great. His forward play was all right. I didn't think it was much of a good forward game anyway, so it wasn't outstanding. But yeah, man, I'm just more so focused on the fact that Bogart played well at right back, which I remember last season, his first start, I think it was right back against Leicester, and he looked shaky as anything. So it shows how far he's come really, and how far he's developed, and how far Emery's got him firing. But Ferdy Kadioglu gets 1 point. He was kind of the only real spark for Brighton from fullback. He had that shot which Martinez saved, put a few crosses in, but they lacked a bit of striker presence in that game. Also, I forgot to mention how bad Blaber was as well. To get hooked after 22 minutes when you're not even injured is his stock has dropped. Like, Brighton probably could have and should have cashed in on Man United in the summer, because then they would. I think they're going to get a lot less now for Blaber after the season he's had. And yeah, Kadioglu, good point, man. Good work. I've enjoyed him. He's been a good signing this season, and he was good little wonder kid on Football Manager at one point. Good little FIFA player as well. So I love to see them boys firing. City Fulham. This was very routine, very easy for Manchester City. They did not struggle really. They just got the job done in the first half, and that was it. Fulham knocked on the door a little bit, but it was routine in the defensive sense from City. So, yeah, man, there's not a lot to say about this game. In all honesty, it's going to be very short and sweet. This one, City did what they needed to do in the first half. They would have maybe, because in another game maybe they would have conceded, so maybe they would like to keep their momentum going in the second, but they really didn't need to. Fulham were dealt with very easily by the defence, who had a good game as well. Erling Haaland came off in the first half, but his goal was really nicely worked, man. It's a very, very nice finish. Outside of the box goal from Haaland, and that technique was lovely, man. I like that a lot. Shows another side to his game, man. He's got a bit of range about him. I would love to see Haaland smack one in from 25 yards. That'd be amazing. He doesn't do that, but that's what I kind of want to see. That would, I think, tickle a part of my brain that I haven't yet unlocked. Did have to come off at half time, but it's not a bad thing. He was a bit injured, so that's fine. Get him rested, get Marmoush playing a little bit, and make sure he's fit for the next game. Goal and assist for Semenyo, he's really proven his money's worth. Every time he puts steps on the football pitch, he just looks like a brilliant player. Amenyo's doing great in that City midfield. Really good poacher's instinct to get that goal. He said he was working on his finishing this season, and you can tell he has. And yeah, man, it's a great performance. And surprisingly enough, player of the week for game week 26. Not the strongest week again, but Nico O'Reilly, man, got a goal, and he's just general that midfield for Man City. It was a fantastic showing from him. This guy's got something serious about him. I really like the kid. Uh, Kind of replaced Lewis as that young midfielder fullback hybrid for City, and he just he looks comfortable. His goal was really good. His overall play is fantastic, and I mean, for me, he was player of the match and player of the week in that game overall. Emil Smith Rowe, another point in this game. That's 2 points in game weeks for him, which is good. Fair play to guy. In the second half, when Fulham started to get more into it, it was all him pretty much. There was no one else that really offered much of anything in comparison. So it's not good from their sense, but I think from his sense, he can take pride in the fact that he led the charge on for Fulham. And in general, yeah, just looked very promising. Looked quite attackingly good. I'm very disappointed that this was the game that Marinakis decided to sack Deitch after. 0-0 at Wolves isn't a good result. Let's not beat around the bush. However, Forest played very well. They had 25 or 35 shots, one of the two, 2.17 XG. That Deitch can't run on the pitch and put the ball in the back of the net. What do you want him to do at that point? The players just can't put the ball into the back of the net. Like I said in the other game, like if they can't take advantage of their chances, then they'll get punished, and they did. They drew 0-0, and there was a chance where Wolves were 4-on-1 at one point, and you thought, "Fuck, this is going to go very badly indeed." But nah. Yeah, I don't understand it. I'll be honest with you. The guy's a fucking weirdo, and I can't see what drove him to his decision. Forest really should have won this game. Like, how do they not put the ball in the back of the net? Lucas should have scored. Gibbs White should have scored. Hutchinson should have scored. They just did not look comfortable in front of the onion bag in the slightest. Gibbs White created a lot of chances. He was mainly driving the attacking force for Forest. He should have had a goal. I'm not going to take away from that, but yeah, man, it's just I'm just very upset overall in the the play from the overall result from Forest because A, I love Deitch and it's Ed sacking, and B, it's just disappointing. You should be doing better, and I'd rather see Forest stay up and someone like West Ham or Leeds go there because I don't like Leeds and West Ham going down with jokes. So don't give me some hope, man. Come on, boy. And Anderson dictating from deep. I mean, Wolves were shut out the game from the midfield. That's fair to say. See, um, Anderson just did his job and did it fantastically. He gave them no real hope in that one. Yeah, I mean midfield just maestro, completely dictated the play in that game. Created enough from deep as well. So yeah, it's 2 points. Jose Sa on 10 saves would have got deserves more points, but based on the system, I've kind of anchored myself to. It's unlucky that he can't get any more. Really, really, really well done, man. He kept Forest at bay a lot when they were struggling, when his defence couldn't. I don't think anyone else from Wolves particularly impressed me that much, so Sarr gets the main plaudits, but yeah, he definitely deserves it, man. 10 saves is crazy work in the Premier League. This is an awful result for Crystal Palace. There is no two ways about it. They shouldn't, not even worried about losing to Burnley at home. Burnley are poor away and are poor in general. So if they're not great at home and then rubbish away, how are you losing to them on your own turf? Like, if I was a Palace fan, I'd be so annoyed at the way that it's going at the moment because with the situation with the gaffer, I wouldn't I wouldn't expect you to win the Conference League if I was a Palace fan. I'd be very nervous about that actually because that your season is riding on Conference League football. I'll be real, and they are dropping like flies in the Premier League. And you've let Burnley haven't won in fucking ages. They haven't won since like October, and you're letting them beat you. That's just not good work at all. And yeah, it's a massive, massive sign of things are going pretty bad at Palace at the moment. Adam Wharton with a point from midfield, really lovely assist for Strand Larson. That's really good work, man. And overall, he was trying to make it all happen for Palace, but as he has done quite a lot this season, but he just wasn't given any support from the players. It was a very poor overall Palace performance. I'm going to be honest with you. And Wharton tried to get him on his back. This is positive. This is the one thing you can look at and say, you know what, fair enough. Strand Larson tripling his Premier League goal tally in his first game for Palace. I did not rate the signing just because I think he'd been bad. But if you think about it, he could just swap straight in for Mateta and fill the same role, but just motivated to play there. So now that I've seen it in action, maybe I shouldn't have judged him too harshly. That was my fault. That was poor judgment from me. So I'm going to give him now the chance to prove it. Prove that he's a good player and worth of playing there. Because I mean, I, I think there's potential for me to be very wrong in the situation. I mean, the 5 minutes in which Burnley turned it around was immense, and Marcus Edwards was all at the heart of that. Got the assist for Hannibal's goal. Um, it is a wonder to me why I wasn't getting more game time at the start of the season. Possibly a reason why they weren't getting the results they needed at the time as well. But yeah, Burnley look a lot worse without Marcus Edwards. He's a really good talent, and I'm surprised he's actually still at the club. To be honest, I thought he would have been whisked away by a potential suitor at some point. But maybe I don't know. Maybe the hype's kind of slowed down on him. But I still think there's a really good player there. Jaden Ante with another goal, really nice near post finish. I don't think it was a handball in the attack. There's nothing the Geese could do about it. But yeah, Ante got the ball and did what he needed to do, put the ball into the front post, and in the end deserves the 2 points that you'll get from that. Got them the points in the end. Got them equal, and then they went on to win the game. So fair enough. He really sprung the comeback Hannibal did. I don't like the geezer. I haven't for a long time. Blue nose, I think he is. Yeah. So that's that. But that finish was pretty mint. I'll be honest. He came back. He hasn't been in the squad for a while, but he's come back in and he's looked pretty positive. To be fair to the guy, so I can put aside my dislike him to say that he looked good in that game, and that finish was sumptuous as well. So he gets 3 points. Sunderland Liverpool. Sunderland's first loss at home this season, and it came against Liverpool, which is quite surprising. A team that hasn't got the job done many times this season actually disappointed their fans and everyone a lot at moments. But yeah, Sunderland did look a bit slow in this game. They have looked for a while now. I don't know their fixtures. I don't know if they're still in the cup or not, but they need to get back on the training ground and have a bit of time to work on some things because they need some other midfield strength because without Xhaka, it's just not happening at the moment. For Liverpool, they scored off a set piece, which is good for them. They don't usually do that. Ekatike wasn't really firing in this game, but they still got the job done, which is more than they can be saying in recent games. Mukiele always keeps himself, you know, playing well for Sunderland, and he put in another good shift on from the right. Tried to create his long throw-ins, his crosses, but it was a bit of an unfortunate effort because no one else really could pick up the slack in that game for Sunderland. Wirtz is still creating a lot of chances for Liverpool. He's really picked it up, man. He's really, really picked it up. He's been probably one of Liverpool's best players. With him and Ekatike have been their best players in the last few weeks, and he has started to look every bit the massive record fee that they paid for him, and his spatial awareness is really good. He didn't score assists, but he looked really good in this game. And now that he has goals on the board and assists on the board, I think that's something people start to appreciate a lot more. Captain Van Dijk with the goal from the set piece. Obviously it's unfortunate for Diarra on the line, but he couldn't react in time. It's unfortunate. If he was a few inches taller, it would have not gone in. But yeah, I mean Liverpool in general locked Sunderland down, and the goal from Van Dijk kind of promotes him to be a bit more on a high pecking order than Canate in that game overall. So yeah, he gets the 2 points, and yeah, Liverpool can take home a good win. This is poor from Arsenal, you know. Brentford, at least they've taken points off Arsenal after they've taken points off us. That is very kind of them. But yeah, man, Arsenal should not be dropping points to Brentford. They really shouldn't. I know they're a difficult team to play, but this is not like City. It is Brentford, and Arsenal didn't look like the team that were going to win the game. If I'm going to be completely honest with you, they had one late flurry with Timber, which they probably could have converted on. But even so, man, like Brentford had chances to win that game, and Thiago did make a bit of a meal of some of those. And if Brentford would have won that game, Arsenal's position would have looked a lot more unstable at the top. Jensen again with a really good showing for me, at the head of a lot of Brentford's chances. Um, I've thought about Thiago for his attacking work, but he didn't do enough for me to warrant a point, and he also did miss some chances he should have scored. So I'm gonna give it to Jensen instead. And Lewis Potter with the goal. He had another chance. He did look dangerous from that on that flank, and that header was really nice. A really good technique on it. Got them the point in the end and gave them leapfrogged them to try and get the win as well, which obviously didn't come, but you know he did what he did his best. He got them a point, which is against Arsenal great. Madueke with the goal is a good. It was a good goal, man. It was a soft header. It kind of tickled it into the far corner. It's a difficult one for Keller to judge, but he did well in getting it off and well pause. But yeah, it's a good goal for Madueke, and it would have won the game if Arsenal sorted their shit out. But Raya was massive in net for Arsenal in that one. Um, he made it so that they didn't lose the game, to be honest, because there's two or three really crucial saves that they made. He made a mistake and redeemed himself instantly for it with the save, and overall he kept them alive at times in that match. So he definitely deserves 2 points for me. And breathe, bloody hell, that was a big one. These are the points for the. That's what she said. These are the points for game week 26. And the updated list, which I shall show you as well, with 2 game weeks worth of points. Haaland on 34, putting distance between him and 24 points, which is now consisted of Fernandez as well, with Mbeumo moving up to 22, Iago, what did I say, Iago? Igor Thiago and Bruno G has now cracked the top 20 points, as Igor has as well. And then Pedro up to 18 points, big movement. Fernandez moving up to 16, and these are the rest of you boys that's starting to slot in behind. Player that works up to 15 points is pretty big movement from the boy. Walton up to 14, stuff like that. And then your two player of the weeks are down here. Thank you for sitting through all that waffle, boys. It was a big one. So have a good one, and I will see you later.